Japan spent $20 billion to build an airport in the middle of the open ocean on an island that didn't exist before. And engineers knew from day one it would sink. What they didn't know was how far. Every single day, this airport sinks a little deeper. And yet, thousands of passengers land here daily with no idea what they're standing on. What's really happening beneath this ground? What's keeping this island alive? And why some experts say it could be completely gone by 2056? That's the story you've never heard. It's the 1960s. Osaka was once the New York of Japan, the economic powerhouse, the trade capital. But Tokyo is pulling everything away. Companies, money, influence. And Osaka's only international airport, locked in between mountains and neighborhoods, no room, no future. Residents are suing over noise, politicians are arguing. Until one engineer makes a suggestion that sounds like a bad joke. We build it in the ocean. And that wasn't a metaphor. Japan literally leveled 3 entire mountains, 430 million cubic meters of rock, and dumped it into the sea to create an island that didn't exist before. 3 miles offshore, in 60 feet of water. The world's first 24-hour airport. No residents, no protests, no noise. Just one problem that nobody could solve on paper. What's actually down there? The answer was worse than anyone expected. No rock, no sand. Clay, soft, wet clay, that's 70% water. And this is exactly where the most expensive airport in the world was supposed to stand. The engineers had a solution. 1 million steel pipes, driven deep into the seabed, packed with sand. The water would get pushed up. The clay would harden. The island would hold. On paper, perfect. And it worked, at least for the first layer. Because beneath it lay something no engineer had anticipated. A second layer of clay, deeper, older, unreachable. 1,300 feet down, and no tool on Earth would ever get there. The prediction: a total of 20 feet of sinking, over decades. The reality? 3 years into construction, before the airport even opened, the island had already sunk 27 feet. 50% more than calculated, and it didn't stop. What that meant for the finished airport was a problem that forced Japan's brightest minds into a solution that had never existed before. So, what do you do when your airport is sinking and you can't stop it? You let it sink, and you build it so you can jack it back up whenever you need to. 900 hydraulic supports installed directly beneath the terminal. Every single one adjustable. Every single one precisely controlled. Here's what almost nobody knows. Every 2 years, engineers come in and lift the entire airport millimeter by millimeter back up. An airport that gets regularly re-leveled, like a crooked picture on the wall. And the building itself? Designed by Renzo Piano, the man behind the Shard in London and the Pompidou Center in Paris. 1 mile long, the longest airport terminal in the world. From above, it looks like a glider. The main building is the fuselage, the gates as outstretched wings. The New York Times called it in 1994 the most spectacular airport building ever constructed. But could it hold up when nature really came calling? Just 4 months after opening, nature asks the question nobody wants to answer. January 17th, 1995. 5:46 in the morning. The most powerful earthquake Japan had seen in decades. $6,400 dead, 300,000 homeless, an entire city destroyed in 20 seconds. The epicenter? 12 miles from the airport. The other artificial islands in the bay liquefied like quicksand. Roads collapsed, buildings fell, water shot up through the ground. In Kansai Airport, not a single crack, not a single dent, not even a broken window. Built on the softest seabed in the world, the airport was still standing. Like nothing had happened. Japan celebrated. The engineers celebrated. Nobody had any idea that nature was just getting started. September 4th, 2018. The most powerful typhoon in 25 years is heading directly for Kansai Airport. Wind gusts of 130 miles per hour. And then something happens that leaves even the engineers speechless. A 2,500-ton tanker, torn from its anchor, gets hurled across the bay by the storm, straight into the only bridge connecting the airport to the rest of the world. One single impact, and Kansai Airport is cut off. Inside, 3,000 passengers, trapped, no power, no way out, on an island that's already sinking. Outside, waves crashing over the seawalls, flooding the runway. The airport is underwater. Here's what almost nobody knows. The airport's official website had promised, "Storm surges, not a problem, ever." That was still up there 6 years before this day. 10 days closed. 7 months of bridge repairs, over $1 billion in damage. Was that the worst day in this airport's history, or just the beginning? Do you know how deep 40 feet is? That's how far Kansai Airport has sunk since it opened. Deeper than a 3-story building. And it's not stopping. (2056). That's the year experts are pointing to. The first runway below sea level. An airport official told the New York Times it could happen even sooner because of climate change. And yet Japan is expanding right now. 25 million passengers a year, 70 airlines, non-stop to Toronto, Paris, Sydney. Billions invested in an airport that sinks a little deeper every single day. Millions of people do it every day without knowing. Would you? Kansai Airport has survived what no engineer thought was possible. An earthquake that destroyed cities. A typhoon that put it underwater. 30 years of relentless sinking. And yet, while you're watching this, a plane is landing on that island right now. 2018 was a warning, not a disaster. But what comes next?